Hello, Team Easy Daters. What's going on? I am so excited to be here. We've got Raika. Raika, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, dating advice. Let's go. We're going to jump right into it. No subject, no headline. Let's go, Raika.
Let's do it, man.
Let's start. Why do many smart, successful women have the tendency to date the wrong men?
Wow. Heavy question, huh? Well, here's the deal. I think that a lot of times smart, successful women have adapted to their environment at work, right? So they're really good at having what we call in the dating world the masculine energy. Doesn't mean man's energy, doesn't mean the guy energy. It means having the energy of getting things done, being on time, leading and taking charge, right? And when we go into dating with that kind of energy and we don't bring the feminine energy in, which is not the girly girl, but it's the more nurturing, open, vulnerable, receptive energy, the dynamic of the dating scene kind of starts changing. And I always tell my clients, listen, a straight guy doesn't want to date another dude, right? So that's one of the biggest things that I see in my practice of working with successful, smart, high achieving women. That happens. And also a lot of times, the other part of it is that a lot of times smart women mistaken IQ with EQ, emotional intelligence. And I think that there's a big difference between being, smart at work and having the information and being worldly in that way, but not picking up on cues, emotional cues, and like compassion, again, openness, vulnerability. And that's a whole skill set that a smart woman wants to also have, so that the IQ and the EQ is both there. And that's going to make for a very interesting dating experience. Last one that I would say on this, Mike, and this is really important, and it goes back to the masculine energy, but this is something that I've seen really strongly with smart women and this is something that unfortunately we have been taught in school all of our academic time. You and I have been taught that, to not make mistakes. Mistakes are bad. And you can't go into the dating scene being so worried not to make a mistake, because then the playfulness is not there. Then that kind of carefree, trusting yourself, trusting your wisdom, your intuition is missing, because you're so worried to not be taken advantage of. You're so worried that the mistake that happened with the last boyfriend who cheated on you doesn't happen with this man. You're kind of so busy being protective that you're not even experiencing the person that's sitting in front of you. So those are just a few things that I think in my book are the top 3 things that really get in the way of a successful woman dating quality men and, dating the wrong guys and then wondering what's wrong with them. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just learning the skills and knowing what to do with it. Just like when you went to school and you learn how to be amazing at the work that you do and become the person that you are at work and at your career, dating is learning the right tools and skills, right? So that you can be successful in it as well as every other area of your life.
Yes, I love that. That was excellent. I got a question though.
Yeah. Shoot.
So as a man, first of all, I totally agree with all that. And I can't stand when I have to compete with a woman I'm like, hold on, I already compete with all these men. When I get with a woman, I don't want to compete with her. I just want to, like, you know, I'll do the man thing, she does the female thing, and we'll have a great discussion. It'll be awesome. I don't want to fight. Anyway, there's a lot of women out there that it's so confusing because they go to work and it's like promotion, and, you know, they're in their masculine energy and they're kicking butt, and like everyone loves them because they're just like the person to go to in the office because they know what they're doing and they get shit done. And then they come home to the dating world and they're like, I'm ready to get shit done and I'm going to do it the same way I do it at work, and it doesn't work. So I need a very practical strategy for this woman and everyone else. Like, how do you get back on your feminine energy, and how do you, like, what's the first step? What do we do?
Like, how can a woman bring in their feminine energy in?
Yeah.
See, this is what I tell my ladies. Many times we're so worried that we cannot trust the guy. And I tell them the reason is that you can't trust yourself. And it makes sense, right? I mean, let's say in the work arena, so just so that this is familiar language. If you don't know how to do your work, you will always be walking on eggshells, right? And it makes you feel, but you never go around saying, well, I don't trust my work. You know very clearly that you can't trust what you don't know, and then you have to get better at it. Mm-hmm. The issue is that when we go into dating, and when that kind of trust of ourselves, that I will make the right decision for myself, when that's threatening us, the feminine energy goes out the door and the masculine energy comes up. I call it the boxing gloves. You know, the boxing gloves come on and you're bobbing and weaving and making sure that nobody's going to, punch you or take advantage of you. And once we can really relax into the situation and be like, you know what? This is an experience, not a competition. This is not dating is a means to the end. It's not the end. And a lot of smart, successful women want to go at it like, I'm going to nail this one. No, you want to get to know them. And in that, you check in with yourself. Is this the right match? Is it not? What are my non-negotiables? Is it matching? Is it not? And I really think that bringing in our feminine energy it starts by trusting ourselves. But I also don't want to make it sound like it's so easy. You just have to trust yourself. Again, I will really emphasize this, that it's a skill set that is acquired, and we have not ever been in a situation where in school, in any of our 20-something years, or some of us 24, 5 years of schooling, from the time you go to preschool to the time you get your master's degree, none of us have taken a course or been taught how to find our mate. And in my opinion, that is the most important decision we make, because our job doesn't love us back and our job doesn't have a mind of its own, but another person does. So bringing that kind of person into our life is scary. I can totally understand that. But when you have the skill set to trust yourself and relax into the situation, all of a sudden, the experience is not on the masculine side, but it's on the feminine side, because now you're really going for experiences rather than it needs to happen. So for a listener or for viewers, I would say the place to start is, what if this is an experience that you're going to learn about yourself? What if you go on a date and ask yourself, who am I going to be, rather than who is he going to be? Because you can't control him, but you can always control yourself. All of these kind of stuff is going to soften you and make you relax and take a breath, and the more you can be yourself, the more that you're going to experience who he really is, and he's going to experience who you really are. Because believe it or not, guys are just as nervous about dating as women are. They're just as scared about the same things that women worry about. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. What a detailed, phenomenal answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Rika, I want to know. Earlier we talked about your three things for smart, successful women. But what is the number one mistake that smart women are making in dating?
It's bringing that work mindset into their love life. Their love life. So here's the deal. The biggest mistake or the biggest thing that's missing or is different, let me put it that way. I'm a words person. I just want to make sure everything's exact. And not that I don't want to make a mistake, but I want to make sure that our viewers are understanding this. This is important. The difference is vulnerability, and that's the biggest mistake. That's the number one mistake I see happening. When we go on with the boxing gloves mentality, there is no vulnerability in that. But here's the deal, ladies. There is no chance for an opening with a man, for a romantic relationship without vulnerability. Because vulnerability is the prerequisite for intimacy. And intimacy is what creates a love romantic relationship. So when vulnerability is missing, and when you're so worried not to make a mistake, when you're so worried to make sure that he's not going to, how do you say it in English, cross you or like double cross you or something? Yeah, okay.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Okay. So when you're so worried not to be taken advantage of, there is no vulnerability. But when you go back to that trust that, you know what? In time, I will know if this person is right. And in time doesn't mean 10 years. In time doesn't mean, 6 months of my life. It means that if I just sit, relax, and know that I will be able to make the decision, I don't have to make it today, then you're bringing that vulnerable energy. And that's something I see missing. That's really the number one mistake, I would say. That I will be vulnerable when he is vulnerable. And you know what? He's saying the same thing.
Oh, I love that. Take the shields down, take the boxing gloves down, and be vulnerable.
Exactly. This is not like, Game of Thrones or something like that. It's not like, let's go in.
All right. We got to make sure everyone's doing this right, Raika.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is, and I've been on this date, where the woman was way too vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a date, and she was like, yeah, so I used to be addicted to crack, and I just got off drugs a year ago, and my job's a mess.
Wow.
I was sleeping with my coworker. That just ended. And yeah, I'm still, and I smoke pot like every day and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm not judging, but this is a lot of information for the first hour of meeting each other.
Absolutely.
So I still, it was nice. I had fun with her, but maybe not for me. So how do you be vulnerable, which she really was. She was great at being vulnerable. But how do you balance that with the right amount of vulnerability so you don't scare off a guy?
Great question. I'm going to say that the art of vulnerability is something that goes back to learning the tools, and that's where you and I come in. That's what we're doing, right? Because it's not an easy fix, and I can't tell somebody today, it's not a button, it's not an app, with a button that you push and then, oops, I'm just vulnerable right now. It's a set of skill sets that you acquire and learn. And this is not because I want to promote coaching. This is because this is what I've seen time and again. It works. But here's the deal. The quick answer to what you ask, Mike, is you become vulnerable in stages. So let's say the first stage is you go on a date, and to be vulnerable on the first date means to just not go with your boxing gloves on, to just go to experience, to just go and see what are you learning about yourself and what are you learning about him. That's, let's say, the first stage. And then if he comes forward and he asks you out and you have more deeper conversation, both of you are earning each other's trust. See, deeper vulnerability is something like you're saying about this lady, this woman was telling blah, like putting out everything. All of that is fine, but you got to earn somebody has to earn your trust for you to open up on that level. And I think that, I guess we go back to managing your dating speed and really understanding that you don't go on a first date or a second date thinking this is it, or with the minds, the biggest, this is also another big mistake. You cannot go on a date and say, I'm going to make this work. Because then you're not managing your speed, and then everything, either you're just going to put it out there all at once, which is going to overwhelm the other person, or you're just not going to say anything. Neither one of those works. So this is something that we have to accept about the nature of dating, and that is time is a big part of it. You can't just fast forward. It's not an app. It's not, and our mentality these days is all about done, checking off the to-do list. This is not that. You cannot do that with this. So I would say the best is stages. Give him something to ask for more. And let him, and while that's happening, check in. Are his words and actions matching? Great. If it is, open up a tiny bit more and a little bit more. But don't go in saying, I will open up when he opens up. That's the worst thing that you could do, because he's saying the same thing and then you both are like this, waiting. Does that make sense?
Yes. I love that. Let's get to the positive side of dating.
Awesome. I love that.
Happy stuff.
Yes, which is what's supposed to be.
Yes. What can women do to be wildly successful in dating that's super easy for them?
Okay, so here are a few tips on that. Again, you and I know this is a process, right? Because we're reversing years and years and years of habits. But to make it simple for today's purposes, stop comparing. Stop comparing yourself to other women, to other men. As you said, don't go into the date competing for information and who has the higher rank. Like, I see this a lot, and I don't know. I don't know if you see that too, Mike. But this is pretty common. Like with women who are like doctors, lawyers. They're like going in as if they're going to like, okay, I'm gonna lay down all my information, like my knowledge down here, right? Like, don't compete. Don't compare. That's number one. The second thing I would say is, in order for any woman to be successful in dating, and more so to create the love life that they desire, to attract quality relationship ready men, which there are so many of them out there, unlike the myth that's going on between single women. You need to put your past 120% in the past. Easier said than done, but if you are committed to having an amazing, awesome partnership and love romantic relationship with a man, you must do yourself a favor and put your past in the past. So I call it the baggage-free zone. It has to be baggage-free, because if you bring any of that in there, it's one thing to say to a guy, I'm pretty sensitive about this, and I was wondering if you can support me. But it's another thing to accuse a man silently and kind of like assuming that he's going to be the same guy than your past, experiences or relationships that you've had. And the other thing I would say is, ladies, learn the art of feminine communication. In other words, the, nonviolent communication or no combat communication, or all of that is the same. Really learn feminine communication. There's a difference between you did this, or when I hear this is how I experience things. It goes a long, long way. And the right man, the quality man, recognizes these small things so quickly, and all of a sudden you become, you just go from here where like everybody else is, all the other women are, and you go in the top 10% zone, because all of a sudden you become irresistible. Like, wow.
Whoa. That one, I like to give out gold nuggets when I hear things that are freaking awesome. That was a gold nugget for me. If a woman, life happens, and especially me, I say some really boneheaded things occasionally. Like, I'm just a numbskull sometimes. And over the years, I've definitely, got taken to court by women. And when I finally, my girlfriend, she'll say, when you say this, I'm experiencing it this way. I'm like, she's not going to kill me, because I didn't mean to upset her, but I definitely said something stupid.
Yep.
And instead of making me feel like a huge ass, we then have a constructive conversation, and it's more inquisitive, well, what do you really mean by that? Or what are you trying to accomplish? And
exactly.
And that's like heaven.
And
really, you just told us how to do it.
And you know what? I always tell my clients, be careful what you wish for, because dating and the beginning stages of boyfriend, girlfriend is just the beginning of it. Relationships are a whole different ballgame, ladies. I mean, it's not like, I just found the guy and then, okay, great, well, then I'll be carefree and whatever. No. I mean, I can't tell you, with Tim, my life partner, every day we're mindful of how we talk to each other. And there are times where I will confess, I completely lose it, and I completely become that, masculine, boxing glovey kind of woman. And I will tell you this, that it never works, and it is 100% backfire proof. I mean, it just comes right back at me. Even if I'm totally in the right, it doesn't work.
Got that right. I want to talk about something.
Yeah.
You gave me this question, and right when I saw it, I'm like, this is the question I want answers to. And the question is, you said, or you wanted me to ask, where we find the men that actually want commitment, or what are the signs that men are relationship oriented? That's what I want to know. Not where to find them, but the guys that are relationship oriented, what qualities do they have? How do we know they're relationship oriented?
All right. Well, here's the deal. One thing that I want to say to preface what I'm about to say is that, ladies, men are like us. What makes you relationship ready? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that makes them relationship ready. So this mystery of I don't know how to identify, what makes you what do you want? What is it? What are your values? Those are exactly the things that are going to make a man also relationship ready. So to name a few, the first thing is, are his words and actions matching? Does he follow through? Is he somebody who hears you? Not necessarily listens, but hears you. Does he include you in his future plans? And I'm not talking about having kids and buying a house at the beginning, but like, let's say you meet at the beginning of October and Halloween is coming up. Are you hearing by the third week that he would like to do something on Halloween with you? Those are signs of quality relationship. I mean, this whole quality man thing, you know, sometimes I use it a lot too, Mike, myself, and I don't necessarily think that men who don't want to be in a relationship doesn't mean that they're not quality men, but just so that we're really respectful of men here. We're talking about relationship quality, not necessarily like, you know, because for many years I didn't want to be in a relationship, you know, being a professional opera singer. I didn't want to have anything to do with relationships. I was married to music, but I was a quality woman. So we're talking specifically about relationship quality men. A man who's ready. Is he interested in introducing you to his friends and then his family? Is he interested in getting to know your friends? Is he interested in what you're doing? Not necessarily for him to be compassionate, to be passionate about what you're passionate about, because I hear this a lot with women that I work with, you know, he doesn't like the music that I like, or, you know, like if, you know, like in my field of opera, like, oh, he needs to be an opera singer. Why? Like, Tim is not an opera singer, nor does he really care for opera. But if I really want to go to an opera, he's nice enough to come with me. And I don't expect him to come with me all the time, because I'm not interested in his, you know, VR website design, whatever he does. I can't even, you know, name it, you know. So, but is he interested in your happiness? Is he interested? Does he get a kick that you are excited about something? Is he supportive? When you open up to him, do you feel judged? Or do you feel that he observed and listened to what you said and heard it? Even if it's something that is kind of like, wow. Is he willing to stretch a little bit to hear what you have to say? Those are signs of a quality relationship ready man.
Oh, I love that. That's good stuff. I want to review, because like I'm tired of women being in crappy relationships.
Yeah.
So let's review that.
Yes.
We got future plans, introductions to friends and family. We've got giving you attention, putting in the effort, giving you support, and then when you talk, being interested in what you're saying, and even bending a little bit on how they see life and kind of coming together. Is that everything?
The one, Mike, is, are their words and actions matching? That is, to me, that's the litmus test. If he says, I'm going to call you, did he call? And if he didn't, because we're all humans, you know, we things come up, right? Does he own that? That's really, for me, that's really, really important. Because if you're building a life with somebody, they need to be dependable.
I like that. They do need to match. That
really is important. Like if Tim says, honey, I'm going to call you, you know, around this time, I expect that phone call. Many times stuff has come up, especially when he's with his daughter. I get it. But he so owns up and says, I'm really sorry. I know I'm 30 minutes late, da 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 da. Like he really knows that he is also responsible towards me, you know. If he says, I'm going to go, you know, fix this, I know that thing is going to be fixed. Something as simple, Mike, something really simple. Like Tim, my boyfriend is very, or he likes me to call him my life partner. He's very social, right? So when we go to parties and such, he has no problem going out, talking to, I mean, he can talk. I'm a little bit more, I mean, I'm nice and warm, so I've been told, but I'm not, I would prefer to be in the corner and just watch other people talk. So many times, up until recently, and we've been together for almost 6 years, he would just get lost. I'm like, where were you all this? Even with my Persian family, they all speak Persian, but Tim is, I don't know where he is. So I kind of gently brought it up. I'm like, sometimes, feminine communication, sometimes when we go out, I feel lonely. And it would be so nice if I can have a little bit more of you close to me, because I love you. And when you're around me, I feel safe. That's all I said. So I don't even remember when I said this, but this past Sunday we were at a wedding and I was going to the restroom and I see Tim standing outside. I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, I wanted to make sure you're not alone. I was like, oh, honey, I'll be fine. And he was like, but you told me that you don't want me to just like drift away. And I was like, oh, that's what I mean by words and actions matching.
Go Tim. Go Tim.
Go Tim. Mwah.
I just want to do the flip side so that's exactly how you word it, by the way, ladies. Like, Raika's got it. But some women will say like, and this is the naggy versus making, I always talk about naggy versus needed. And she did a good job of making a man feel needed. And men, we're drawn to women that make us feel needed.
Oh, yeah.
Naggy women, we run for the hills. So naggy would have been like, oh my God, like you never hang out with me at the party.
Yes.
And then the guy would be like, what? What do you mean? And then boxing gloves are up immediately for the guy. He's like, okay, yep. She's coming at me. It's fight time. And yeah, we don't like that. But you can get your same point across with what Raika said. Like, you would make me feel so safe if you'd come hang out with me here and there at the party. And he's like, oh, I'm a big, strong man. I want to protect my woman.
Totally. Totally. I mean, I could totally see him feeling like he's Superman. It was so cute. We're in Santa Cruz and it was just like raining cats and dogs. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And I get a kick out of these English things that I remember. Okay. And then it was like raining and he's like with his, umbrella out there waiting for me. And I could totally say like he was, totally feeling like, like the whole Superman moment. So I call him, I started a nickname for him, Superman, and you're my Superman. And, as you said, Mike, there is such a difference between you don't, or you this, you fill in the blank, or I would like to experience it at how can we do this? And you give a guy a chance to make a decision with you. And when you give them some space, it's amazing what can happen. And I have to tell you, in all transparency, that is not my default tendency. I am a business owner. I am an opera singer. I've always had my own, thing going on. I'm very masculine. That's my tendency. So I just want to say this so that if you ladies are listening to this, you're like, well, by nature, you're like that. No, I had to work my Persian tushy off to get here and read and study and get coaching, get help. Because it was so bad that my amazing supportive parents, actually in 2006, at Christmas, told me that I need to go back home because they were scared of me. So I'm putting this out there so that you don't think this happened by that, oh, I'm just by nature a soft person. So not.
Wow. You fooled me. I thought you were a big softie and super feminine.
Nope. No.
And you've been doing a good job.
Did this, get that, chop.
All right. So, Rika, this has been an amazing interview. I really enjoyed it. What I'm going to do is for everybody who watching this and wants to find Rika, I'm going to put her website down here so that you can all find her. And obviously she's fantastic. So click away, get over to her website, learn more. What will they find on your website if they do click it?
What would they not find on my website?
I don't know. Like, give them a roadmap.
My website is like information. So the first thing they will find is something that I suffered for many years because I dated, Mike. I don't know if you know this about me, but I dated for 12 years. I dated 11 guys, and they all cheated on me, including my ex-fiance, with a text message, very Sex and the City. And so the first thing that they're going to find is something that's so dear to my heart, which is the Broken Picker Solution. And it really talks about, a lot of the stuff that we covered today. What is the difference between men who come across as relationship ready, but they're not, and who is the relationship ready? What's the quality of the relationship ready man? So that's the first thing they will see. And then I have if they go under Dating 411, which I came up with that name, I'm very proud of it, they will get a lot of free, serious advice in my blogs and my Dating 411 TV channel on YouTube. So that's what they will get. And then, all the other goodies, how to work with me and all that other stuff. And also a really neat video about who am I and why did I do this? Why dating with confidence? Why would an opera singer become a dating coach? So.
Yes. That sounds awesome. I love it. Everyone's got to get their hands on it. All right, Rika, thank you so much for all the wonderful information. I learned a lot. I bet everyone else did. So thank you so much.
Oh my God, it was my pleasure. I mean, Mike, I love your energy. I love what you say. I love how we are so, I follow you on social media, and I'm so honored to be part of your program. I mean, anybody who's working with you is lucky. And I listened to the podcast you did with Marnie Batista. I think it was on online dating, and I have to tell you, your clients are lucky to be working with you, because I learned so much from you on that.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. What a compliment. I'm going to be flying for the next few hours. Everybody better get out of my way. I'm excited.
Dude.
All right, Rika, we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.